Hello and welcome to this video on ethics and artificial intelligence. In this video, we're going to look at an introduction to what we mean by ethics in artificial intelligence and how it impacts you, how it impacts your daily lives. So we'll start by looking at what we mean by AI ethics. We know what AI is, we know what ethics is, but what do we mean by AI ethics? The ethical implications of artificial intelligence itself. Well, essentially, as a general definition, what we mean is the moral values, the principles governing the design, the use, the implementation of artificial intelligence systems within your business. Now, in practice, what this essentially means is making sure that anything that you use, any AI tools that you use, or how you use them, is done in a way that upholds professional standards. So standards with regards to integrity, objectivity, confidentiality, for example, making sure you're not filling your AI tool full of private client information that is then used by someone else. And ultimately, when you embed AI technology and you implement AI technology into your business, that it is done off an effective code of ethics that goes into your systems, that goes into your workflows. And this is relevant at the back end with the organizations that are producing these AI tools in the first place, to you when you're implementing them within your company, and also to the users, the individuals, your team members, when they're using AI systems within the workplace as well. And it's very, very important. And why does it matter? Why are ethics important in artificial intelligence? You might think, well, artificial intelligence is in itself going to be ethical, but is it? It's ultimately a computer. There's hundreds of sci-fi films and comics and mangas, etc., all based around how AI acts in a way that is almost too logical and therefore not ethical. It doesn't have that human emotion side to it. But it's very important in any profession, particularly anything to do with finance or law or anything like that, because ultimately it's to do with relationships. If you are a solicitor, if you are an accountant, if you are working with clients, they have to trust you. Relationships are built on trust. So all stakeholders, be that you as the user, be that your clients, whomever it may be, needs to trust the AI systems that you are using. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Otherwise, they're going to go somewhere else. It also preserves your honesty, your care. If you think about the accounting profession, it has a reputation for honesty. It has a reputation for transparency and accountability. And so by having AI systems in place, you need to ensure that they also marry with that professional integrity, because ultimately all of that is about client confidence. Clients give you sensitive information about themselves, information about their financial situation. They want to know that you are dealing with that information in a safe way. When they hand that information over, they need to know that you're not going to misuse that data. So if we think about the core ethical principles of both the profession, or any profession really, and AI as well, we need to think about how they are going to match up and how you should use these principles when you are deciding what AI systems to adopt within your organization, how you are going to adopt them. So for example, transparency. Be very open about the systems that you are using and the decisions that are made with those systems. So what I mean by that is, don't tell your clients that you did all this by hand when actually you used an AI system. Make sure that they are aware that you have used an AI system. But be clear that you yourself as the human professional are responsible for the output, responsible for the decisions made. You used it as a tool to help you with your analysis in the same way you might use a calculator or an Excel spreadsheet. But ultimately, you are responsible and accountable for the output. You can't turn around and say, oh, well, the AI system said this. It's your job as a professional to analyze that information, to analyze that output, and make the correct decision. Also, make sure that your AI system is free from bias, or as free from bias as much as possible, making sure it's treating data, treating different stakeholders the same. It's not having undue bias against certain clients or anything like that. And also, be honest. Be honest when you're using artificial intelligence. Be honest of the capabilities of your artificial intelligence, but be honest about the limitations of it as well. Don't use this as a tool that you think is just going to be able to do all your work for you. You have to be aware of its limitations to use it appropriately, to make sure that you are not using it in a way which is going to overstep what you should be using it for, and therefore run the risk of not being accountable, not producing the right result, not being fair, etc. So how does this general idea of transparency work in practice? If you want to implement AI systems, but you want to be clear and open about the decisions that you're making using AI, how are you going to implement it effectively and transparently in practice? Well, the first thing you need to do is make sure you document the criteria used by AI, particularly in something like audit work. So what sorts of systems are you using? What kinds of prompts have you given it? What information have you given it? Make sure you've got a record of all of this so you've got that audit trail. Make sure that you analyze and explain the outputs. Interpret the results the AI has given you, but make it in plain language for your clients. And make sure that you yourself have the overarching say in what goes to the client. That you're not just trusting to your detriment what the AI system has said, be that GPT, be that Claude, AX, whatever it may be. There are also specific tools for used in different professions, such as accounting, for very specific activities as well, that you can use. Make sure you avoid what they call black box scenarios. Now, what that means is essentially that you should understand how you and how the AI has reached that conclusion. If you're unsure about it, ask it to explain itself, or take the output, put it in a different AI system and ask it to review it. You should never be in a situation where the client comes back to you and says, can you explain this in a bit more detail? And you, oh, I don't even know where that came from. That must have just been what the AI said. You should be able to explain everything that you send over to the client. So make sure you have reviewed it. Make sure you are sure how the AI reached its conclusions and that you are happy with how it reached that conclusion. Because again, once this starts to work, it starts to show that the AI can be trusted. It builds confidence in using the AI both for you and for the client, which means that you can then use it more effectively, use it to improve your productivity while still trusting the output. So think of it like an accountability framework. The human sits at the top. They have the final responsibility, not the AI itself. Make sure you have controls for verifying those outputs from AI. And also make sure that you're training your AI on accurate, unbiased financial information, whether that's using personal GPTs to ensure that you are not sharing information, whether that's telling the AI why it got itself wrong and how it can improve itself in the future, and also training your staff on it effectively. And you can build trust through use of AI by ensuring that client information remains protected, ensuring that you verify those results, that they match your own opinion, that it matches your professional standards, so that you can build that client confidence in the tool. And again, this all goes back to this idea of using it ethically, using it effectively. Because it is something that people are very concerned about. So we've got a report here from Deloitte about executive concerns about AI. And this is executives, CEOs, partners, whomever it might be from large organizations. So people that do know what they're talking about. And this is regards to their use of AI and about setting up AI systems in the workplace. And what you can see here is we've got three big categories. The first one here being ethical risk. 33% of people are concerned about ethics in AI. It's the single largest concern, followed by implementation and then by cost. So if you include those three things together, the cost of implementing AI, the implementation itself, and the ethics of AI are the most important factors, with the ethics themselves being the most important. So it shows you purely the importance of understanding the ethical implications for implementing AI in your workplace. But how can you implement AI effectively and ensure that ethical standard is maintained? Well, we've got some practical step-by-steps here to implement AI effectively. Start by assessing the existing tools and assessing them against your ethical principles, and are there any potential gaps to that? For example, looking at OpenAI, ChatGPT, how can you make sure it is confidential? Is it by redacting clients' names when you're posting their information in, using personalized GPTs so that it doesn't share itself, etc.? Then create guidelines. The problem is lots of people are using AI, but they're not telling their managers they're using AI. So they're using a personal one. They're not using a company one, an enterprise one, which has more security protections, because there is no formal policy for using it. They haven't got enterprise accounts because they haven't got a formal policy. So make sure that you've got a firm-specific ethical AI use policy in place that you can then train your staff members on, provide ongoing education for, and make sure you're continuously monitoring it and adjusting it as needed. So key summaries there for ethics and artificial intelligence, particularly with regards to you and implementing them in your workplace, is always think of it as a foundation on which trust in the artificial intelligence is built. There's no good having a good AI system if you can't trust its outputs, if you can't trust it to not make biased decisions, etc. But remember that the AI helps you, it enhances your work, it does things that might otherwise take you a while to do, but human oversight is paramount. You still need that expert human who knows what they're talking about to analyze the output of the AI. Because remember, you are ultimately who is accountable, not the AI tools. It is an ongoing journey though. AI is very, very new as technology goes, and implementing it requires continual oversight, continual monitoring, continual improvement. But you don't want to get left behind, because ultimately the firms that master AI and implement it effectively and ethically and responsibly are the ones that are going to see the biggest benefit from it, and over a longer period of time are really going to see their practices take off versus organizations that don't implement it. So hope you have now got a good insight of why ethics is so important in artificial intelligence. And over the course of this video and video series, we're going to build on that going forward.